Welcome back, guys. In this next video, we're going to be going over the third step in the underwriting process. This is when you've sent the application, our pre-screener has now screened it, and now they've sent it to our home office. This is where the underwriters are going to make a decision whether to approve the policy. Now, there's 3 steps really to that. They're going to either approve it standard, they're going to approve it with a rating, or which means it costs extra money, or there's a change in the policy, or they're not going to be able to approve the policy, in which case they're going to decline it. Now, the underwriters kind of do 3 major checks. The first one is an RX check, the check on the medications. That's why it's very important. Everything that you put on the application lines up with what's actually in the records when they go to check it. Because if they go to check it and there's a medication there that you didn't list, well, then home office is going to need an underwriting bulletin. So they're going to come back to you for more information. Why is this client taking this application? It was left off the application. So guys, we don't want to leave things off the application if a client is taking medication for something like high blood pressure or diabetes or chest pains, whatever they're taking for, or asthma. You want to make sure that you put that on the application. The second thing that they're going to check, guys, it's a motor vehicle check. That's why it's very important to make sure that you get the license number. If you can't get a license number, try to get if they have a state ID number so we can check their motor vehicle records. Remember, guys, it's health and habits that get the policy approved. If they've had a DUI, or if they go scuba diving on the weekends, if they have adverse habits, well, then that's something that home office will also not be able to approve a policy for. In most cases, the motor vehicle check is a quick check, and if it comes back, they don't really have a bad history of driving, tickets, speeding tickets, DUIs, nothing like that, you should be fine there. The third thing that they're going to do is collect the medical records. This is a separate department that collects the medical records for our clients. We have an entire department just to collect medical records. It's called AI records. They make sure that once we receive a request from the underwriters to get records, the AI records department will then take the authorization, fax it to the facility needed. The facility will then get back to us. They will fax us the records. AI records will handle that. They'll package it together and they'll send it to the underwriter so that the underwriter can review the medical records needed to approve your client. So it's very, very important that when you're doing the application that you get the exact doctor's information. So when you're doing the application, you put the doctor's information, you put the doctor's name, you put the correct address and the correct phone number and the last time that client went for a physical. It's very important because if you don't, both the underwriting department and AI records isn't going to be able to do their job when we send the application to home office to now collect the medical records needed and approve that policy. So guys, when you do those 3 things correctly, we get the RX history very quick, we get the motor vehicle history very quick, and we're able to get the medical records. So make sure that you're getting the correct doctor's information, the correct license number, and everything is good on the application. Once all of that is collected, it is the underwriter's job to determine the risk of your client. Based on mortality tables, they determine whether the client is a good risk, a higher risk, or we can't get them at all. They're too bad of a risk, so we have to decline them. A good risk means that they're pretty healthy. They're not really crossing the line anywhere. They're going to be approved just the way we wrote the application. A little bit higher of a risk, maybe they have diabetes. It's going to cost them more money, or maybe we can only approve them for the whole life. We can't approve them for the accidental death. So that's a change that's going to have to take place after the policy is issued that you're going to have to deal with the client. Or the third thing, they could get declined if they're much too high of a risk. Now, the underwriting, guys, that's going to come with experience. But the most important thing when you start is to make sure that during the application, when you're with the client, you reach out to someone that has that experience. That would be your MGA, the person that leads your entire team. They are going to have the experience to know what underwriting is needed for specific medical issues Make sure if those come up and you don't know what they are in the application, you reach out to them so that later on down the road, the underwriters can do their job and get your policies approved. Now, if more information is needed, the company is going to give you a Wednesday bulletin. They give you 10 days to get that information back to the company to make sure, because they only have a certain amount of time in each state to approve a policy. If any more information is needed, you need to expedite that and get that as soon as possible. Wednesday bulletins, as we've discussed before, are gone over twice each week on your Monday and Thursday meetings. Now, the last thing that happens is the underwriter is going to decide if they have enough information to approve the policy. Once that decision is made, the policy is entered into issue status, which we'll now talk about. So guys, when you're doing the application, make sure you're giving the underwriters all the correct and precise information that they need to do their job so we can get every policy approved that should be approved. Later.